I was listening to a friend share recently, and I got an idea for a Facebook Live. So I thought I'd take a few minutes out of the afternoon to share with you. And the topic is about saying no, being able to say no comfortably and with confidence. So many people feel uncomfortable saying no because they feel that they're going to be rejected, they feel unworthy, they feel that if they say no, they're going to upset somebody. And so they are afraid to say no and they allow themselves to do things that they don't really want to do. I've done that many times. Of course, we have. We can all be people pleasers. We are just not feeling the self love, self esteem, self confidence to let it be okay when we'd like to say no. And when you decide that you're going to learn to say no and that you're going to become masterful at it, you will have many opportunities to practice. So I will just give you one tip that I learned. I remember when I really decided that I was going to stop doing things that really weren't in alignment with what was most important to me in my life. I decided, oh, I'm going to just stop doing these things that are not so important to me. Maybe things that my ego would put on a list of things that would be good for me to do, but that I actually, in my heart, don't have any interest in doing. I made a decision to stop doing those kinds of things. So, don't you know, right away, somebody called me up and said, hey, Jennifer, we'd really love to have you on this team, on this committee, and would you be available for that? And I said, no, I'm not available for that, but thank you for asking me. And they're like, well, the meeting is on Friday. What are you doing on Friday that you can't come? And I thought to myself, well, I'm going to be doing something. I don't know what it is, but it's not going to be that. I don't wish to do that. I can tell, I can feel that's really not in alignment with what's most important to me right now. I'd rather stay home by myself and just have a quiet evening than go do that. But I didn't wish to say that because I didn't wish to. There's just no need for me to say that, and I didn't wish to get into it with that person. And they didn't really need to know what I was going to do. They were just trying to find an angle to talk me into it, and I knew that, and I wasn't interested in that. So I said, well, I really appreciate you asking me. I feel honored. I am so grateful that you would consider me for this. I really feel that's just a great gift that you've given to me. But I won't be able to do that because I have other plans and I'm doing something else. But thank you so much for thinking of me. I really appreciate it. And when I approached it that way, they were less trying to talk me into it. Now, one of the ways that you can use this kind of a technique to just say no in a loving and polite way is to say, as you're building your confidence, you can say, I really appreciate you inviting me and offering that to me. Gosh, let me think about that. I'm not sure that I can do that, but let me see what I can do, okay? So let me get back to you. I'll get back to you by whatever time tomorrow. And then you can go back to them. You may already know, I don't want to do that. But then you can go back to them and say, so it turns out I'm not going to be able to do that. I've got a bunch of stuff on, and I'm really committed to taking care of myself and not taking too much on. So thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it. I'm honored, and I love you. Mwah. And then the person at least knows you really thought about it. You really considered it. You didn't just reject them right out of hand. And then they can take your no better. And you've had a chance to kind of rehearse it and practice it. So I invite you to consider that kind of thing. Now, one of the things I talk about in my Masterful Living classes is self love. And a lot of times when I start talking about self love, people say, I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that means, self love. I don't have a picture of how that looks. It sounds selfish in some way, and I don't think I want to go there. So, self love is when we're not doing things we really don't want to do. So, life gives us things all the time that maybe we don't feel like doing. Your child throws up all over the bed. You don't feel like cleaning all that up. But when you think about it, actually, you do. You do wish to have it all be cleaned up, and you're the one who's going to take care of it. And so you're going to do that. So then you can do it without complaining, without grumbling, without huffing and puffing, because it's your choice. It's what you'd like to do. It's what you'd like to have done. And you're not kidding yourself that you're doing it against your will. You are aligned with doing it, and that's your free will choice. So once you make a commitment to do something, you have said yes to doing it, whatever it is, then don't drag your feet, don't complain, don't do that to yourself out of self love. I've really learned that one because I was a chronic complainer. And I still can get into a little bit of complaining. So I have had to really learn to shift that vibration out of self love and loving myself. Now, the other main thing about saying no and thinking that people aren't going to like you if you don't say yes, it's just not true. It is just a falsehood. It is a blatant, egotistical falsehood. And don't buy into it. Because think of it this way, if people only like you because you present a false self that says yes to things you don't want to do, then do they really know who you are, and do they actually like you, or do they just like your false self? So if you'd really like people to like and love you, present your true self. And we can all become more gracious in learning to say things like, "Oh, it's so nice of you to ask me, and I really would love to be able to do that, but I've got these other commitments. I've got these other things that I'm working on. So I'm going to have to take a pass for now, but I so appreciate it." And if you know you'd never like to be invited again, don't say things like, invite me next time. But if you do think, well, maybe next time I would like to do it, say that. Say, will you invite me again? I'd appreciate it. So, and what I also have learned not to do is to say, I'll try, because basically I'll try is often what it really means is I'm not going to be able to do that, but I just don't feel like telling you that right now. So I've learned just to have my field be clear and my energy be clear, my communication be clear. I've learned to simply say, I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm not going to be able to do that right now, but thank you for asking. And instead of saying, you know what, let me see if I can do that, I'll try. Don't say I'll try unless you're, in fact, just eliminate that altogether. Let's say somebody invites you to a party, a lecture, a book signing, whatever it is that you kind of would like to go to, but you don't know if you really can fit it in. Instead of saying, I'll try, say, I don't think I'll be able to, but let me see if there's some way I can work it out. And then, if you can, you can. It's a bonus. But you've already laid the groundwork that you're probably not going to be able to. That's another kind of gentle way to say no and then come back and confirm it. Say, I don't think I really can, but let me get back to you. Learning to say no with ease and grace is a great skill to have. And one of the things that I've noticed is the more masterful I become at that skill, the less and less people even ask me to things that I don't wish to go to. They don't even ask me to do things I don't wish to do. The vibration is clear. My field gets clearer and clearer because of the self love. And it is so loving to just be direct with people. I mean, truly, do you want people to be with you, or at your things that don't really wish to be there? Don't they kind of harsh the buzz and bring the energy down? I think so. I'd much rather have only people there who are so happy to be there, love to be there. So we can all learn to say, no, thank you. I really appreciate it. Just simple ways to really stay in tune with our spiritual integrity. And I put here in the chat in the text there an episode of my radio show from a ways back that was about being in integrity and not compromising, and as a way of being loving to ourselves. So maybe that radio show will interest you. And I love you. Nice to connect on Facebook. Going live.